hates you.
Hello and welcome to Everyone Hates You, a podcast with me, Michelle Shaughnessy, where we talk about failures and rejections, two things I am far too familiar with, which is why I started this podcast. Today, I have in studio my friend, Nabil Abdulrashid. Did I say that right? Was that good?
Perfect.
Yes. Hello. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, so before we get into the failures and rejections, I just want to say you were on Live with the Apollo last night, and I think that's amazing. So I'm going to congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
And yeah, so it aired last night. When did you film it?
September.
And when did you know that you were going to be filming it?
Ooh, a long while before that.
Okay.
A long while, but I just kept it quiet.
Yeah, you really did.
Yeah, I always keep stuff quiet.
Yeah, you seem to be like a private person for a comedian.
Yeah.
And I like that. I definitely aspire to be a little more like that because sometimes I feel like my life's just too much out there. So I definitely want to be a little more private. So you're inspiring me in that regard.
It comes from being a retired criminal. I tend to keep a lot of secrets, and like no one's ever sure whether I'm serious or joking.
But that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right?
What, being a retired criminal?
Well, I mean, sure, yeah.
I mean, the retirement aspect, I guess.
Exactly, right? That's better than being like, an active criminal.
No, but if I was, I wouldn't say so on a podcast.
So maybe you are, and I just don't know.
Are you stereotyping me?
Come
I
on.
thought we were cool.
No, I'm not stereotyping you, but you the first time we worked together, you opened up a little bit about shit that you'd been through and like your life. And I really appreciated that. And I felt safe around you. Like it wasn't just some random guy I just met being like, hey, I was a criminal, like that would probably scare me a little bit. But you opened up about that and I like that. But you are killing it right now. And I love to see your success because I really like when people that I find nice people are also really good at comedy because those two things don't always go hand in hand.
Do they not?
No.
Yeah, it's like I think we have like a very high concentration of psychopaths and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad comedy exists because if it didn't, those guys would be fucking super villains in a comic or something. Like some really weird people.
Absolutely. And it's funny because like I was talking to a friend recently and she was saying, oh, like so many people suck. They should just quit comedy. And I was like, no, we don't want them out in the world without that outlet. Like, yeah, they're terrible and they might not go anywhere, but we don't need those types of people walking around with nothing to do and angry that they're not making it as a comedian,
Absolutely not. At least have them on Twitter at the very least.
Yeah. They're probably like secret trolls when they go home at night anyway.
I'm not a secret troll. I'm a very open troll.
Are you a troll?
I used to be, but the busier I got, the less time I had for it.
It's a time investment being a troll.
Oh, man, especially if you're a good one. Like, I was good.
Is there specific things that you would look for to pick on?
Yeah.
What?
If you're someone that, like, reveals too much of your emotional state on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, I'm like, yeah, I've got a mark.
I see these videos sometimes of these women. I shouldn't say just women. I think that's just what shows up in my algorithm because I watch a lot of female content. But it's always this woman. It's always people being like, he left me and I can't. And it's them crying hysterically with like music. And I'm like, when I have breakdowns and I cry, I don't think to like grab a camera and edit a video. And I mean, maybe I should. Maybe I'd have more followers. But I just don't understand like the psyche of somebody that wants to put that out there,
To be fair, that wouldn't be the worst way to try and gain more followers, considering.
What would be the worst way?
I can't think of anything.
I feel like you know some dark secrets.
The dark web. Oh, man. To be fair, I don't see I have seen guys having breakdowns on the internet, but it's like their girlfriend filming them after they've been caught cheating.
Oh, those videos are really funny.
I can't believe they're real. Like, these guys are having full-on tantrums.
Yeah, they're really funny.
That's crazy. They must be vegan or something.
Okay, you know I'm vegan, right?
Really?
Okay, well, here's the thing about that.
So nice.
I know. Well, okay, so I'm going to say was a vegan. I was a vegan for a very long time, but recently
Then you joined the dark side.
I wouldn't eat meat, but I have partaken in some cheese recently.
Just have some meat.
No, I haven't eaten meat in almost 15 years.
But don't you just miss it?
No, I don't. I was never.
Protein flow through you.
I know. I do feel weak a lot, but I don't miss meat, but I missed cheese. And I had cheese when I went to Paris, and then it was a slippery slope.
Is it for moral reasons or health reasons or?
A bit of both, but I'm definitely a hypocrite because I wouldn't eat meat. I think I just don't want to eat something that used to be alive. But at the same time, if you told me that if I skinned a baby cow and wore it on my face for 4 days, I'd look 10 years younger, I would fucking do that tomorrow. So
What if eating it would make you younger?
oh, that's a tough one.
Because I mean, it's proven that.
No, I don't agree. I don't think that's true. It's not proven that eating meat makes people look younger.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I don't believe you.
I'll prove it later.
Okay, you'll have to send me those studies or prove it later. And that, yeah, no, I was a vegan for a long time, and then it just kind of, you know.
So you have to understand. I mean, like, because in reference to what you among the tribe, you have to admit there are some very strange.
Well, what's weird is when I first was vegan, I was single, and I went on like a vegan dating website, and it was like there's 2 vegan singles in your area, and one of them was wearing a hat made out of a watermelon, and I was like, right then and there, I realized I could never date a vegan. I think that makes me a hypocrite too. Like I don't think. When I was single, I don't think I would have been able to date a male vegan.
Go on a date on a tandem bicycle.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like the women I know that are vegan, you can't really tell. But any guy that's like, I'm a vegan, I'm like, I can tell, you know?
Because testosterone is a thing that we need. So I don't want to say anything that makes me... I'm trying my best now to turn a new leaf and actually be a nice guy. So I'm trying my best not to say anything disparaging about anyone.
But if you did, then maybe my podcast would go viral and it would be good for both of us.
Vegans suck. You guys are pathetic. Vegan women, all right. But vegan men, like, come on, man. You bunch of... And I can say this with no fear, because what are you going to do? You bunch of sock and sandal wearing... I remember this time, like, 4 vegans tried to jump my brother in Shoreditch.
Wait, how do you know they were vegans?
Oh, you could tell.
Okay.
Like, they had blonde dreadlocks and
Okay.
flip-flops. And they fought like vegans, too. Like, he beat them up by accident. Like, this guy runs, yeah. I was like, look, stop. The guy just runs into my brother's hand. And just...
That's really funny.
It was like a scene from Dumb and Dumber. Oh, God. Sorry.
Nabil out here attacking the vegans.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I love this.
I knew there had to be something about you I wouldn't like eventually.
I'm sure there's more stuff. I'm sure we can find it in the time allotted.
Yeah, I look forward to hating you.
Thank you. That's so nice. And then anytime I get a troll now, I'm going to think it's you. No. So I've had a lot of failures and rejections. And I'm not good at turning them into positives, which is what I'm trying to do. Like I'm trying to be able to, because I've had a few guests on this podcast that talked about their failures and rejections, but they all ended in a positive note. Like they spun it into something that ended up to be good for them. I'm not good at that. And I hold grudges for a really long time.
So do I.
Yes. I got that feeling from you, which is why I said that. Like I feel like you would support me in my grudge holding.
You could feel the flames of hate.
Like I would never want to piss you off because I feel like it would take a long time to get you back on my side, if ever.
Oh, you know what? Apologies work with me if they're genuine.
Yeah, that's true.
But I love revenge. Like,
me too.
Love it. Yeah, and like I feel, a lot of people feel this way too, but I really like it when bad things happen to stupid people.
Okay.
It makes me feel good.
Well, sometimes bad things happening to stupid people is the only way they smarten up. Like sometimes people need a bad thing to happen in order to like make them not be such an idiot,
There you go.
But in terms of failures and rejections, I'd love to hear about some of yours. I have a feeling they're going to be a little different than the other people I've had on, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
I don't even know where to begin. I'm from, a generation before your time, sweetheart. I'm a bit older than you. So
No, I don't think you're that much older than me.
Excuse me, sweetheart. Don't talk over your elders. Like in my day, if you boys still played sports with the balls, and like your first feeling of rejection was not getting picked to play, and I got diagnosed as asthmatic.
Mm-hmm.
At about 6, around the same time, I actually got diagnosed with ADHD. So this is before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Of ADHD that only seems to affect TV comics to run out of shit to say. So like I was the kid that was had to puff on an inhaler, couldn't breathe, couldn't run, couldn't do all this stuff, right? And it sucked. Because like at that age, the only thing kids have is play. And I couldn't play like other kids because I couldn't breathe. Mm-hmm. And like they'd make fun of me and call me Darth Vader because of the wheezing.
Kind of a good one, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of worse things they could have called you.
Oh, they called me harmonica because, supposed to... so from a young age, and then I'm the last kid in the family as well. Mm-hmm. So, like, I had to deal...
Did you get picked on, like, with siblings and stuff, too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, mainly my older sister.
Okay.
Who I still hate to this day, so if she's watching. But, like, we had this really weird cultural thing where, let's assume me and you are brother and sister. Mm-hmm. Well, possible in Utah. And, let's pretend that you're older than me.
Okay.
Obviously, you're not, but let's pretend. Now, at school, we had this thing where if a girl does something to you, you can't do anything back.
No.
So what you do is you go fight her brother.
Okay.
My older sister is an asshole.
Oh, no.
So as soon as I got into secondary school, or high school, as some people would call it, that was... No one wanted to be my friend because they hated my sister. And if I wasn't man enough, I had to fight every day against kids 2 to 3 years older than me because they had beefs with my sister. And she was such a horrible person, even the teachers hated her. So they took out their frustrations on me too.
Oh, so you already went to secondary school with people that are already hating you, teachers, students.
They were just waiting. They could not wait to fuck up my life. As soon as I arrived, it's like they were at the gate, just ready, just waiting on me. And we follow like similar to the Scottish system of education. So like secondary school is broken into 2 halves, right? The first 3 are junior secondary, and then the last 3 senior. And then you write your exams, you go straight to university. There's no A level or anything like that. And my parents flipping pressured me to be a science student because my dad's a doctor. And I didn't want to be a fucking doctor, right? But I was the last kid. Everyone else got a choice. I didn't. They wanted me because, like, one side of the family has, like, 17 of them. I'm like, well, there's enough doctors.
That's a lot of doctors for one family.
Yeah, like, why do you need me to be one? Anyway, I get pressured into studying to be a doctor. So I'm still going through all this stuff. So I've just about dealt with all the junior secondary shit, all the teachers that remember her from junior secondary that hated her. I'm now about to cross over to senior secondary. We have to write an exam to, you can choose to be an art student. You don't need an exam for that. They just let you be an art student. Or you write an exam to become a science student. So I wrote the exam to become a science student, and I still didn't get in. Turns out I passed, right? I passed, but the teachers hate my sister so much. They said, we can't have someone related to that girl in a lab full of chemicals.
Oh, wow. How did you find out that you actually passed? And they were just like, we don't want you in here.
There was a teacher at the school who, was like an auntie to me. She like took a liking to me straight away because I was a sweet kid. If people gave me the chance, just no one gave me a chance. And she just took a liking to me. So she went into the staff room and heard these two talking like, we can't allow that boy. He might blow up the school, blah, 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 blah. Thing is, I didn't even want to be a fucking science student. So I was happy. But my parents were upset. Stupid boy. Didn't even pass. Typical Nigerian family. So I'm getting all this shit for not getting the science student role. Then my mom finds out what happened and how they switched my papers or hid them and turned up to the school, kicks off with the woman that's in charge of the science and art divide. That causes some real tension. I then get put in science. After I'm like happy. Now, this woman the teacher who I think she was the head physics teacher, double hates me because she hated me in advance because of who my sister was.
Now she hates you because of who your mom is.
And I'm like, just when I finished dealing with all that shit in junior secondary, here I am now in my senior year of school. And again, it was the same thing. Like, I had to go through all that. And, like, I was always different anyway. I was a nerd, but I couldn't fit in with the nerds because I was athletic. Like, once I got into my teens, I played basketball, and I was a brilliant basketball player. I was a point guard. But, like, the jock type students, I didn't fit in because I was too smart.
Mm-hmm.
And I was too much of an individual. I liked comics. I liked to read. I liked poetry. I liked all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't be a nerd because I was weird, but I was still too cool to be a nerd. So I spent most of my time by myself or with kids much older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, secondary school, while it was a lot of fun, because like we did a lot of crazy stuff, it was the fun part of my life. I was facing rejection every day because I never really fit into any group. And like even in terms of tribes and stuff, like because we have tribes in Nigeria, we have like different ethnicities. My parents are from 2 different tribes. And so I didn't quite fit in with northern Nigerians or southern Nigerians. Again, because I was too much of one for the other. So that was my whole life through secondary school. And then my parents were worried that if I stayed in Nigeria, I'd be up to no good because, you know, he's such a problematic kid. And so they sent me to America first because I was a good basketball player with the hopes of getting a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And that year, playing basketball, I fucked up my knee. And I never I was never with any college. So, like, if I was in college and I messed up my knee, there's a chance that I could get that covered.
Mm-hmm.
But it happened when I was playing a pickup game outside. So my basketball dream, gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so traumatic for me that I've only been able to watch basketball. Like, this happened to me as a teenager, 20-something odd years ago. I'm only now, like over the last 2 years, able to sit down and watch basketball.
Do you think that has something to do with the fact that you're really starting to excel at comedy and coming into your own in that? So now you're comfortable where you are and not having become a basketball player, that now you can watch it and enjoy it a little bit?
Yeah, and also just enjoying the fact that, you know, if life had gone down that route for me, I wouldn't have met my wife, I wouldn't have my 2 daughters, and, you know, that's more important even than comedy. Fuck a comedy career, man. But I love comedy, don't get me wrong, but it's not the most important thing to me now. What's important is my kids, my wife, my family. You know, but like it was still really painful to see people play. Like people always talk about how good they were. Everyone was an amazing athlete, but I literally was a brilliant basketball player. You know, like I would have done something with that, right? I was a generational talent as a point guard, but one game I get pushed off the court because I was the smallest guy on the court. I'm only 6'1". Basketball, that's not very tall. And I was a lot thinner then, obviously. So I get shoved off the court and my knee smashes against the bench. And yeah, all my time in America, I was just depressed.
Where in America were you?
I was just outside of DC.
Okay.
But like I would go to different places to, you know, because obviously I'm a hip hop fan. I'm in America. It's amazing. And then that happens.
And you were sent there without family or anyone either, too, right?
I had an uncle there.
Okay.
And we didn't get on. So, because I couldn't get into any college, I wanted to go to Georgetown University because that's where Allen Iverson went. And you know, he was my favorite basketball player at the time. Because I couldn't get any colleges, I had to go back home and just sit down in the house with my dad and just feel like a complete failure because I didn't apply for any universities in Nigeria.
How was your family with it when you came back?
They're not the sympathetic
Okay.
type. Very much useless boy. Look at him.
Okay.
You're just here, eating my food, breathing my air.
So there wasn't much support for what you were going through?
No.
Okay.
No. Never had any support for. Like I had issues, you know, I had issues as a teen because, like I said, you could imagine just having the kind of secondary school life that I did, you know. So when I became like a rebellious teen and I did crazy stuff, you know, it was my fault. It never occurred to him that maybe it's like the situation that we allowed his sister to cause that's made him lash out like this. You know, it's I don't know why he's like this. He's always in trouble. And no one ever thought to sit down and have a talk with me and see maybe he's depressed or
just see how you were doing.
Yeah, you know, and I didn't. To be honest, I still wasn't that bad. I could have been doing much worse, but there was still a level of responsibility I had that most of the kids you see here don't have. You know, and eventually my dad decides to, he was like, you were born in the UK. Might as well just go there because universities are all striking.
Oh, you were born in the UK?
Yeah, I was born, but we moved back when I was quite young. Mm-hmm. So my dad's British, I'm British, my mom isn't. I was born here, back and forth. My family is weird. So my father initially studied medicine in the Soviet Union, met his first wife, who was a doctor as well. He has 2 kids, my 2 half-brothers, with this woman, and she was unwell. She passed away. And so they moved to Nigeria. She passed away. He moved back to the UK, and then, met my mom, then moved back to Nigeria again. What the fuck, dude? And he was practicing here. He was practicing medicine here. But I don't know, I guess the ghosts of... And here's the thing, the woman that he married was, she was a Russo-Afghani woman, Russian Afghan woman, and she had a good friend who was working as a teacher at this school. And when she passed away, and he remarried my mom, my mom had never met him while this woman was alive. When she kind of passed away, my dad eventually married my mom, and they had me. I went to this school, and that woman who was friends with my brother's mom was a teacher at the nursery. She made my life hell.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that seems like...
Just because...
That doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, I guess it was probably, obviously, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it was probably having to do with her not being over her friend's death, right? So you were a reminder that her friend was no longer with us, right?
And it was
that's
really
not fair
bad.
to take it out on you, but that's probably where the hate came from.
I was born left-handed, and she would use that as an excuse to hit me with a ruler on my wrists when I would write to make me switch hands. And that kind of caused a delay with my writing. So she was doing this to me when I was 3, 4, just learning how to write, and made me feel bad for being left-handed. So to this day, I'm partially ambidextrous now, which I guess is kind of good, but my handwriting is equally shit with both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that is that rejection? I think so, because it's I'm a kid, why?
Absolutely. I think that's, not only is it rejection, but I think sometimes rejection when you're a kid affects you years later and you don't really think about it, right? And then years later, that memory will come to you and it'll kind of make sense as to why you are the way you are almost, Yeah. And I think we're getting better as a society now about understanding what childhood trauma can do. But even 10, 15, 20 years ago, we weren't there.
No.
And I think probably some of the stuff you've gone through probably make you a better father because of that, because you probably will check in with your kids more than you were checked in on, right?
Yeah.
Not that it's good that happened to you, but it probably is helping your parenting skills and making you empathetic as a father.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think back about it, for a long period of my life, so much messed up stuff happened to me that had nothing to do with me, that I had this innate belief that I could never do well at anything.
I understand that.
Because it's whenever something too good happened, my life was like The Simpsons, right? So this opportunity comes, and then somehow by the end of the episode, it just slips out of my fingers. There were so many different things that happened this way. And my dad, he said, "Oh, you're gonna live in the UK, but you're not living with your brothers," because my brothers were already here. But the age gap between me and them was huge, which is why they weren't around when I was, dealing with the shit I was dealing with in school in Nigeria. They already lived here. One of my brothers is Scottish, literally sounds like Shrek. I told you my family's weird. My dad just dropped him off at school, boarding school in Scotland, and said, "Okay, become a man," and just left him. And yeah, that experiment could have gone left, but like, he probably has issues he's dealing with now because of it. Right? My dad, I think Russia messed up my dad, and then he just kind of tried to take this Soviet approach to raising all of us. Now you'll become man. You come back when you are successful. Bliat. Why you cry? Pituch. Anyway, my dad, so he sent me to live in the UK. So I thought, oh, brilliant, I'm just going to live by myself. He said, no, you remember, I'm still a teenager. He says, you're going to live with this woman. It's a process called farming where you live with a family. And, like, if you're still under the age of 18, which I was, your parents give them a little bit of money to help look after you because obviously you can't work. So I ended up moving with this woman, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're going to because like I don't want you staying in Nigeria because you know your friends, you're moving with the wrong crowd." And I'm like, what do you know about who my friends are? Anyway, so I moved to the UK, and this woman puts this impression that like she lives in flipping Buckingham Palace or something, right? Because it's called. She lives in St. Raphael's estate. St. Raph's estate is not Buckingham Palace. It was at the time the most violent, part of the most violent borough in London at that time.
What was she getting out of having you there?
So he was paying her money, so she would just pocket it. So like money that was meant to go to me to help me like get stuff that I need and start college and stuff, she just took and fucked off to China.
So it was like a scam. Yeah. She
just took the money. I went to China to do a business.
That's strange.
It's fucking communism.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So she took that and like she had her son in private school, and meanwhile she just left me on this estate and like this was I can't stress to you enough how violent that estate was. Like, put it this way: the bus was meant to terminate in the estate, but it would stop 2 miles or a mile away because bus drivers kept on being right. And I lived there. This is doctor's son, teenage boy.
Were you scared?
Yeah, a little bit, because like when I first arrived, secondary school all over again, because this woman was dating a police officer. So they see me, and I'm from a house where they see police go in and out. So automatically, he's a snitch, blood. He says, how am I a snitch? I don't even know you guys. I don't know enough to snitch about. Like, why? How? But that was enough. So, like, again, it was in St. Raph's. If I wanted to go, like, where it was, like, say this is St. Raph's Estate, Wembley's over here, Stonebridge is over there, Housden is over there. So I eventually made friends in Housden. So I made a friend in Stonebridge, but I have to go through Housden. So when I go through Housden, I'm getting attacked because they think I'm a St. Raph's boy. When I get to Stonebridge, I'm getting attacked because they think I'm a Housden guy. Then when I go back to the estate, they're attacking me because they think
you're a snitch.
Then when I go through Wembley, I get attacked because I then join Barnet College. I'm going to go to college outside of all of this. So I have a peaceful time at college. Turns out that the nearest, that college is right next to an estate with a gang called Thug Family, which is the moistest name for a gang I've ever heard in my life. If you're watching this and you're from Thug Family, fuck you. But so like, and they had problems with everybody linked to where I live near. So like, I went to college, it was problems, it's just everywhere. And then like, Caribbean kids don't like African kids don't like Caribbean kids. It was just all this.
Too much politics for a kid to deal with.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm just trying to study, man. Like, what's you guys' problem? So, of course, I had no excuse but to get involved in crime eventually. Like, first week living there, I had to choose between, because this one went with all that money, I had to choose between going hungry and paying for the electric meter. So again, like, I don't know if that counts as rejection, but the estate not liking me and, not being able to make friends because I wasn't from here and having no one show me around, that for me felt like huge rejection. And somehow I managed to get a job within a week because I'm that fucking Nigerian. And you know, I'll find a way. And like I was just scraping by.
What were you doing? What was your job?
I was helping out. There was like a shop across the street from where I lived. And, you know, the man that only had 2 sons, and I made friends with his son. He was like, oh, could you help me run the shop? So I was like, yeah, sure. And again, you know, like, obviously I'm catching shoplifters and stuff, and I'm doing stock take. I've never done any of this stuff before. You know, and yeah, just I stayed, such a horrible place. I'm not, because this is a light-hearted podcast.
No, you know what? I don't even know what this podcast is yet. It's been a little lighthearted because so far it's all been comedians on as guests, which I'm trying to change. I just don't know a lot of people.
I imagine.
I don't know.
Supposed to be a comedian.
No, I like this. I'm actually like the direction that this is going because I started this podcast not out of a lighthearted place. You know, I started it because I did feel like a failure and a reject. So this really puts things into perspective for me and definitely makes me feel like there's a lot worse out there in the world that could have happened, you know?
I'm glad I'm doing that.
Like, for the most part, my rejections about not having an agent or not having enough followers don't compare to what it was like to grow up feeling like perpetually rejected from the time you were a child. So I'm happy that you're sharing this, and I appreciate it.
Man, I remember this one time I was on a bus, right? And I only had 20 pounds in my pocket. And this guy gets on the bus and he tries to rob me. He pulls a knife. He's like, give me your money. And I thought, fuck's sake, man. He said, give me your money. And I looked him in the eye and I said, bro, wouldn't it be easier if you just got a job? Like, I mean, fair enough, you want the money, but like, look, it's cold. This is like 1 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. We're both on the fucking night bus. Who's the loser here? But like, who?
Yeah.
And he just starts laughing. He just sits down and gets off at the next stop. Like, it was just that level. I've never seen this level of desperation until I came to London. And then eventually I bumped into an old friend of mine who I knew from Nigeria, right? And he was doing really well. He was like, this is where you live. Come on, man. Come live with me, man. Don't worry, you'll be fine. And I did. And it turned out that he was involved in some very profitable illegal activity.
Is that how you kind of got into that world a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was good, man.
So when you say good, you mean the money, right?
I mean,
like you were making money.
Yeah, but obviously I would advise against it, okay? Stay in school, kids. But yeah, it was yeah, we had some fun times.
There's a lot of questions I want to ask, but I don't know if I'm allowed to ask them.
If I can't answer them,
what was the illegal activity? Okay. All right. Will you tell me off camera? Okay.
We ran a multifaceted enterprise.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. So it wasn't like going out and robbing little old ladies in the middle of the night.
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
No. We're Nigerian. We don't do that. Shit. No, you can't make any money from that. We were...
It was a business. You were running a business. It just happened to not be a legal one.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm down with that.
Although, obviously, with those things, people see what you're doing and they get jealous, so they'll try and rob you and things like that. So, there was, again, I can't say too much. Mm-hmm. But it was fun times. It was fun times. It was, it was fun times. But, like, my friend started to drink a lot. Mm. I don't drink. I've never tasted alcohol in my life because even as a bad boy, I was still a good boy. Mm-hmm. But my friend just, like, he started drinking, and to this day I'm convinced he was doing other stuff too. So like we would have money that we kept somewhere that we're gonna use to do something legit, and come back and a third of it's gone. And I'm like, bro, what happened to the money? So,
drugs.
Or like he was trying to impress some girl, and like unfortunately he wasn't as charming as much. So he led with his wallet, and he got finessed out of his money a lot, and so he became a bit of a problem, and he kept on drawing attention to us that we didn't need drawn, because like he was more. You know how you say I'm a private person? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that I had that, but he wasn't.
That's how people get caught.
Yeah.
Too much flash.
Yeah. So we parted ways, and this guy stabbed me in the back. And that's how I got caught.
So he ratted you. Do you think he was in trouble? Was he trying to save himself from something? Or did he just was mad at you for parting ways and was like, I'm going
to this day, I'm not quite sure because I remember all my friends visited me except him.
Okay.
And then, I don't know how much, I kind of can't say, but like, yeah, you know, he did a disappearing act as well. But like, Nemesis caught up with him, you know. But like, he never visited, never wrote, nothing.
How long were you in jail for?
I was a guest of the Queen for...
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
A guest of the Queen.
The guest of Her Majesty. Testing out the facilities. Yeah, so I kitted out the library. And that's actually why I took up stand-up comedy. That's actually why I discovered the time. Yeah.
So how long were you away for then?
Just under 2 years.
Just under 2 years. Okay. And in that time, I know this is kind of a fucked up question, because you didn't fit in school, you didn't fit in the neighborhood, you didn't fit in college. Was there a part of you that fit in there?
Nope.
Okay. So again, you were...
It was weird, right? But so I went in at a young age. Like at that time, prisons were so crowded that I was meant to be in a young offenders, but I ended up in like basically almost the equivalent of a maximum security prison, just below maximum security. But there were people in there that were meant to be max security. So they were like, you know, I'll talk about this in my show, but like there were convicted terrorists, murderers. There was like anything you can think of. I saw a dude that killed and ate his wife. There was, but then there was another guy who was from San Francisco that wrote reviews for Broadway thing, and he kicked off on an airport.
Oh.
Ended up locked up. Like you could bump into anybody in there. There were lawyers, there were bankers, there were, you know, politicians, all kinds of people in there. Yeah, I remember like it was mad because like I've never looked like a tough guy. I don't think
you look like a tough guy
now because you know, I've packed on a bit of size.
So you don't think
like,
you didn't look like a tough guy while you were in prison?
Like people had like tattoos and teardrops and whatever. So like I look like I can hold my own, but I never.
You don't look like jailhouse tough.
Yeah, exactly. But I was, because life had prepared me.
Yeah.
You know, I had lived. You know, and I remember I got put. I remember the governor of the wing, because I was on C wing, which was the largest prison wing in Europe at the time, in Wormwood Scrubs. And I remember being given a cell to share. I told the governor of the wing, I don't want to share a cell. I'm not good with sharing. He was, oh, is that right, sweetheart? Would you like massages as well? Fuck off, right? And they put me in a cell with this other guy who was like on steroids and stuff. And I started noticing, because like the currency in prison is tobacco. That's like the dollar. Then I think euro will probably be something like corned beef and tuna. You know, but tobacco was the highest currency, and then you know that it would go up and down like the stock market. But tobacco was always the best thing to use to trade. I started noticing I don't smoke, but I had tobacco because you know you want to pay for things like a haircut or whatever in prison, and my tobacco started going down, and my tuna and my corned beef started going down, and I realized that this fucking prick was using my stuff to go gamble and play table tennis. And he was shit at table tennis, so he never won anything. So, I mean, I confronted him about it, and he hypes up, oh, you know, roid rage, and I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. And then I wait till we're locked in a cell together at night, and then there's only one officer that patrols the whole wing. And I did something about it, and then off the back of what was done, obviously they had to get emergency. They had to like get us out. So, and like I remember being taken out, and I see the same governor, and like they do this thing where one person like holds your arm behind your back. I'll be taken out, and I see the governor. I'm like, I told you I couldn't share a cell. He starts laughing, right? And then afterwards they gave me a single cell, and it was lovely. There was artwork from the last person that was in there.
Really?
He painted the whole wall. It was gorgeous.
I didn't know you're allowed to do that kind of stuff in prison.
Yeah. You know, he had all kinds of, it was like the whole cell looked like a forest. It was amazing. And unfortunately, it was in the high risk section. So I was literally the only person on that part of the wing that was not criminally insane. So like my next door neighbor was a guy called Halal Jesus. And then there was another guy next to him, Mr. Patel. There was this Indian dude that tried to burn down his house because him and his ex-wife had a divorce. Now, he's really crazy because for an Indian man to burn property, and that's, you know, and like I remember around the time that I got moved to my single cell, I got my first letter from a family member in prison, and it was to tell me what an idiot I was.
Really? Oh, how did that make you feel?
Like, everyone else there, I mean, I get it because like, I'm the only person in my family that's ever, you know, ended up in trouble with the law.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I'm here now. I can't take back what I did. And the fact is, a lot of choices that were made kind of led me down this route.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, rather than say, don't worry, you'll be okay and blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're an idiot, you this, you that, you this, you that. And the thing is, it's that same sister. I'm like...
So you guys don't speak at all?
Yeah, to this day, we don't speak.
Okay.
And, you know, it was painful. It was painful, you know. Because, like, everyone else that was in there, their families rallied around them. Like, their families didn't, like, kick them while they were down.
No.
But, you know, this family member did. And then it was meant to be, like, a secret. Don't tell anyone Nabil's in. But this person goes and tells all the aunties and uncles that don't even like me what happened. And I become, like, a topic for gossip. And it's like, their kids have done worse things than what I did. But they won't talk to you about that. Why do you have to turn on me? And, you know. So, yeah, I had a lot of time thinking that. And then, like, what I would do is I would read a book every 2 days. I would try and read an autobiography. And I remember reading about Richard Pryor. And it sparked something in my head. Because the earliest memory I have as a, you know, I think I was like 4 or 5, and I was watching VHS. You probably won't remember what VHS is.
I know what VHS. I'm probably older than you.
I'm sure you are, darling. I'm sure. Do you know what Betamax is?
I know of Betamax. I never saw one in real life, though.
Yeah, I saw plenty.
Okay, you might be a little older then. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, like Uncle Nabil was saying. So we had one VHS and it had Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, and Rowan Atkinson doing a one-man show, like different shows just put together in one, because Nigeria's bootlegging game was on point back then. And I remember watching it, and this shows you how responsible my parents were. There was no censoring. Like, I was a 4 or 5-year-old, I'm watching Richard Pryor. And, like, I remember watching it thinking, wow, these guys are amazing. I want to do this. But obviously, as a young boy in Nigeria, you can't tell your parents you want to be a comedian because you're only allowed to tell them that you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a corrupt politician or something. You can't, you know. And so I remember rediscovering my love for stand-up. Like, I've always enjoyed it. Like, I was in the debating team at school, and I was always funny when I debated. And I remember doing a stand-up performance in prison, and it went well. And, like, I was making, like, the worst of the worst laugh. The prison officers would open my door 15 minutes early just so I could make fun of them. And so I was like, wow, when I get out, I'm going to do stand-up. And then eventually I get out, living with my older brother at the time. We're not getting on. In fact, I was meant to get released earlier, but because he was renovating. Yeah.
So he made you stay in jail longer than you needed to because you had nowhere to go.
Even though I wanted to go live by myself, I said, no, come live with me.
That's really fucked up.
But then
I'm sorry.
Because he was renovating. Fucking prick. But, that's what they said. But later I found there was something else he was going through at the time. But, like, when they told me, obviously I believed that's what it was.
So your family seems very private in general then? Like, don't talk about negative stuff that's going on kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah. So eventually I got out and I'm walking past and I see this advert at a place called the Comedy Cafe in Shoreditch. It's now closed down. Rest in peace. But it was like they were doing an open mic night there. Are you funny? I'm like, yeah, I'm funny. Okay, so come try out. So I called and the guy was like, yeah, so have you done stand-up before? I'm like, oh yeah. I've done bare stand-up, bruv. I've done it over there and fucking over there. I thought, what's to it? Because like while I was in there, like we watched, somebody brought in these Richard Pryor and Dave Chappelle DVDs, and they brought them into the wing because we were fighting so much on the wing. And after about a month of having different inmates watch the comedy DVDs, the violence reports went down. Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously that's a discussion I know is not relevant to this as well.
No. That's something that's really interesting to know, though.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was something that I've always deeply respected stand-up, even before I fully understood it. But at the same time, I thought it would be easier because...
We all think it's going to be easier.
Exactly. So they told me, how long do you need for it? Because it was one of those weird open mic nights where it's not just a comedian.
Oh, so like musicians and poetry and
Bible study, levitation.
Aren't you glad you don't have to do those mics anymore?
Oh, so glad.
Yes.
Belly button reading, the whole shebang. And I'm like, yeah, can you give me like 15, 20 minutes? And they're like, oh, we can't give you that. We can give you about 10. I said, okay, no problem. I'll just cut out some of my jokes, but I don't like to work under these conditions.
That's really funny.
And then I write out my whole fucking set. This is the first and last time I ever wrote my set on a piece of paper. Never written my set on paper again. I wrote out my set and I put in pauses for when they laugh so I can strut around the stage like Chris Rock. Brother, fast forward to the night now. I come, it's one of those weird, like, those gigs where, like I said, you've got the dude with the head wrap and the dreads, burning sage, doing poetry. And so I look into the sky and I see that I am Rastafari. And it was, yes, King. It's one of those gigs. And then I get introduced. I go on and like, oh, you don't have 10 minutes anymore. You have 6. On my intro, the guy's like, yeah, well, basically, this next guy coming on, he might be shit or not. Who knows? Welcome, Nabil Abdulrashid. Fucking, yeah. That was my intro. So I come on and, everyone is funny. He didn't explain I was going to do stand-up. He didn't know what I was doing. And everyone does jokes at the start of their set, even guitar players, like everyone. So I go on and I'm just talking, telling jokes. And they're waiting for the act to start. And then they start to realize, oh shit, this is the act. And like, you ever see someone bomb where they're so bad that the crowd doesn't even boo?
Yeah, because we feel bad.
Oh, they didn't feel bad.
Okay.
This was the black crowd. They did not feel bad. They let me know. Like, they started, it was like someone farted in the room. And it started getting louder and louder and louder. And then I told another joke and someone got up and walked out. The thing is, it was so quiet that I noticed the one person get up and walk out after my joke. And then, like, I told this other joke, right? And I got hit with the worst, dirtiest, deadliest heckle I've ever been hit with in my life. I told a joke, and this brother in the front with his girlfriend looks at me, looks at his missus, looks at me, looks back at her and says, as I was saying, like I was interrupting him with the stand-up. And like the only person laughing the whole time is my older brother. And he's not laughing with me, he's laughing. The show ends, like I walk off, there's a live band behind me. The MC, Victor Daniels, comedian, who's now almost the funniest guy on GB News. Victor Daniels, if you're watching this, he does the Running Man in slow motion to take the mic from me. And then he takes it. And then when I walk off stage, the live band goes, doo 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 doo.
No!
Oh, man.
That's awful.
And then to add to my pain, my brother drives me home in his brand new Maserati, prick. He drives me home and he drops me, like we pick up some food. Mm-hmm. He drops me at my flat and he says, Nabil, the best advice I can give you is enjoy your food. And he just drives off. And I think, the funniest thing anyone said tonight, and it was him. And yeah, that was, I think, that day, like the performance was so bad that they used my name as a measurement of failure. Like when someone bombs, like, oh, was it a half Nabil or a full Nabil?
Shut up.
I swear to God, I had to go back there and right the wrong, but I had to go in disguise. I actually have the video on YouTube. I had to disguise myself, go on there and do it. Like, you could hear someone go, ah! When I say Nabil, because I wrote my name on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And the compere read it. The next act is Nabil Abdulrashid. You can hear someone in the background go, ah! Because they remember how badly I did last time. And I went on and I did well. And, you know, after that, of course, there's been ups and downs. Like, I remember there's only one person I ever wanted to manage me as an act. And I invited them to see me at a gig, which was a final. Mm-hmm. I know we're running out of time. It was the final for a competition. And my grandmother died 3 days before that final.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And, like, the worst thing is it was like a film. She called me first and said, oh, I just wanted to hear your voice. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Mm-hmm. Now I can rest. And then the next day she died. And I thought, man, some fucking Nollywood debt. You know, so it's messing with me. And then my final now, I still grit my teeth and go on because that's what I do. I'm resilient, you know. I go and the act before me is like a band, a comedic band. You ever heard of that shit before? A comedic band? Like, I hate musical comedy enough as it is, but a band? Like, pick one thing to be shit at. There's like 15 of them, and each one of them has brought their friends and family.
So everybody's there to see them?
Yeah, and,
okay.
And we're the first acts. Mm. So I'm on right after them, and their family, their friends are not giving me anything. And probably my heart isn't in it because of the
Of course.
I do okay, but the act that the agent that came to see me didn't even stick around, speak to me after the show. And then next day sent me an email saying, yeah, dear John, you know, you suck.
They probably regret it now, though.
Well, interesting you say that, because my response to the email when they said they couldn't manage me was, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day you will. So obviously I do what I do. Years later, I go on Britain's Got Talent. I do all this stuff, and huge agents are knocking on the door. One of them comes through that was a good fit, and I speak to them, and they say, have you been managed before? And I say, no, I've never had an agent. They're like, have you ever tried to get an agent? I said, yeah, check your inbox. And they read it while I was on the phone. I said, I told you.
So is that agent?
Yeah.
Wow, good for you. That's really like, I have dreams of that happening to me. Like, I have dreams of like being able to go back to the people who've turned me down or wait for them to come to me, you know? And I like your response to that agent. I wish that I had the balls to say that. Like, whenever I get a rejection, there's always a part of me that wants to write something like that, being like, you know what, like one day you're going to like wish that you never turned me down, or, you know, come crawling back. But
pettiness.
I know, but and I have so much pettiness. I don't have the balls to say that out loud.
Join me. Let me teach you the ways of the dark side.
You should. You know what? I should pull out all the rejection letters I've got since I've moved here and let you reply to all of them for me. We should have you on another episode. And just have you do that.
Bitch and the click you claim. West side. Sorry, but yeah, you know, I've always had that belief. I think, like, obviously I've skimmed through stuff, but statistically I shouldn't even be here. So
okay.
My attitude to life is if I can't do it, it can't be done. And I always believed in myself that eventually someone will see. Eventually that, you know, and that's why we keep pushing. Obviously there's no guarantees in life, and I appreciate even the little that I've done. I appreciate it, but never let anyone tell you what you can and can't do.
It's hard because I feel like I used to have that. Like, I used to always just believe that it would work out for me. And I think in the past year that I've kind of lost that belief a little bit, you know? And I do feel like that's a slippery slope, because I think once you don't even believe in yourself, then you're done. Like, it's just not going to work out for you, you know? So I do struggle with that a lot.
Read a lot of autobiographies, man.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just read the Britney one. That's probably not the one you're going to be reading anytime soon.
If that's what I would advise.
But it's good that you always had that belief and that confidence, even when you were kind of dealt a hand that wasn't conducive to believing in yourself, you know? Did you find when you started to make it as a comic, I mean, everyone's level of making it and success is different. So I don't know what you would define yourself, but when you started to do well, did people from your past start to kind of try to come back in your life?
Yep.
Yeah, I bet.
Yep. And, you know, the cold shoulder never felt so warm.
I bet.
You know, because again, like I don't forgive and I don't forget. If, you know, even like as a kid, if let's say we're about to go on summer break and you hit me, I wouldn't sleep at night just thinking about how I was going to get my revenge. And then when I see, even if you've forgotten, how you left me is how you find me. So the first thing I'm doing is hitting you back. And some people say that it's not healthy. They're stupid. I think that there's nothing wrong with having, like, don't let it eat you. But the problem is we get taught to be good people. Or no, not good people, nice people. And this is the thing, I'm teaching my kids there's a difference between being a nice person and being a good person.
100%.
Very big difference. Like a nice person will bend over backwards to help someone who's evil. And, you know, a good man isn't always going to do nice things. You know, like tackling a shoplifter isn't a nice thing. But a good man should be able to do that. Or, you know, extreme example because I'm a meathead. But like, you know, sometimes the good thing to do is to draw boundaries, to shut people off, to tell them, no, I've had enough. And if your whole life you've been told to be nice, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And evil people are very good at spotting nice people.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are easy to manipulate, right? Because they want to play on the fact that if they feel like they're not a nice person, then you can manipulate them more, right? So I do feel like we do have to wrap this up, but I do want to know this before I get to the final question. This is just out of curiosity. Because of your past, and I mean, I don't know you that well, but you've been pretty open about, you know, going to jail and that kind of stuff. Do you find that some comics are intimidated by you or treat you differently because of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people, I found in comedy, because I came into comedy fully developed as who I am. A lot of comics aren't just trying to find their voice in comedy, but in life as well. I find a lot of people skip a stage. Like all my favorite comics lived life, then became comics, and they had a wealth of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Whereas now you have these like Nepo babies and flipping, you know, milk dud comics that just, you know, oh, goodness, I'm not good at anything. Oh, let me try comedy. And they haven't, you know, they've never...
We'll name names after the podcast.
I'd name names now if you want.
It might go viral. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say.
No, but like you have a lot of these comics that have no personality, no life experiences, and they worship comedy. So after the gig, all they do is hang out with comics, and then they feel because they have a certain level of success in comedy, they can treat people like trash.
Yeah, I do not have patience for that. And I was treated not super kindly when I first started by a group of women. They've since apologized and we're okay. But I really kind of don't ever want to be that. So I try to be really kind to like newer people or people that I see at a show and they don't really know anybody else. Because especially moving here, I didn't know anybody. And so I had people like, you be nice to me. And I don't have patience for people bullying people in our industry.
No, I hate 'em,
you know?
And the reality is, when the lockdown happened, did they say, oh, comedians front? No. Like, if there was a zombie apocalypse tomorrow, right, my comedy wouldn't change shit. Like, it wouldn't help me. So I always remember this business is a very privileged business to be in. It can only work in certain parts of the world. I don't think there's a lot of comedy clubs open in Ukraine right now.
No.
Or Gaza. So, like, you know, it's something that exists because of a privilege and abundance. So you shouldn't take it too seriously. Like, I'm very, very grateful for any little thing I get from stand-up, right? No matter how little. And once I'm off stage, I'm not comic anymore. I'm just me. And I treat everyone with the same level of respect. I don't care if you're the bar staff, the security, or a punter. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. And so a lot of comics don't have that mentality because they went from, like, college to uni to comedy. So they've always been in some kind of clique, and they've never felt real life before. And so it's not a word, but realness is a bit intense to a lot of people.
I can see that.
I'm okay with that. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I don't find it intense, but I'm also an adult. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm also older. I've been around a long time. Like I
wouldn't say
feel
older. Still.
But compared to a lot of these young
You remind
comics.
me of myself when I was your age.
Oh, fuck me. Compared to a lot of there's so many young people in
babies.
comedy.
They're babies.
And it's really hard to listen to them talk about life sometimes because I'm like, you don't fucking know shit, you know? And I do think there is something to be said. Like the older I got, the better comic I got because people will listen to you more when you have that life experience.
Yep.
And I do think it is important to be grateful for everything you get and to have a
100%.
life outside of comedy, which is something that I struggle with and I'm working on it.
Let's go start a bar fight.
Okay. I remember one of the first things you said to me. You said that you felt like I could hold my own. You were like, I feel like if somebody tried to fuck with you, you would not put up with that. And I was like, he's right, but I like that I give off that vibe. I feel like this has been a really fun episode in the sense that you've opened up more than a lot of people. And I really appreciate that. And I really like that a lot of your failures and stuff weren't just like, oh, I didn't get live at the Apollo earlier enough, or I didn't get this. And like I said, most of mine do feel like they are in that regard. And it definitely makes me feel more appreciative as to, you know, my life when I was younger and the support that I did have from my family, right? Not everybody has that. And I feel like I need to call them tonight and thank them for that.
Yeah,
So
should.
if you woke up tomorrow and your phone was blowing up, you had notifications from Twitter, from Instagram, everything, being like, everyone hates Nabil. And people are texting you being like, everyone fucking hates you, Nabil. Is there one thing that pops into your mind as to what the reason would be?
Several. Might be some shit I said on Twitter the night before.
That's fair. Okay. I guess when you're a troll, you're used to it.
Yeah. To be honest, that has happened to me before.
With Twitter.
Well, what it was is while I was on BGT, it was during the lockdown.
Okay.
And like I was getting death threats from like neo-Nazis and white supremacist groups like Britain First type people and like because of the kind of stuff I do or my stand-up and the kind of stuff I talk about and what I represent. So like I would get so much shit because certain segments of society do hate me and I hate them too. So yeah, I have had that happen. And that's what it was, something you said on
You seem like
program.
you would handle it a lot better than most people.
When they tweeted me hate messages, I tweeted them back my postcode and they never showed up.
You know what? I would call you if I ever had a problem. If I ever had a problem, you would be my phone call because I feel like not only physically could you help me, but I feel like mentally you could probably put me in a right mind frame to reply to people and handle people the way they need to be handled. And I appreciate that. And I feel really lucky that you were one of the first comics I met when I got here. And I do. And I really like that. I remember you taking the train with me so I wouldn't be alone. And I did
that?
You did.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you were great.
That doesn't sound like something I
Yes, it does. Everyone knows you're Uncle Nabil and you're nice. I'm sorry. He's a bad boy. I don't want people to know how nice he is. But I appreciate you coming on, and this has been really great. And hopefully, I get to see more of you. And I love to see your success. And I have a feeling that next year you're probably going to be too famous to come on a podcast like this. So I'm glad I got you now. Thank you. This was Everyone Hates You. Yay!
Everyone hates you.